there, my name is Caleb Sutherland and my pronouns are he, him, and his. I live in Chicago and I serve as the director for the ELCA's International Leaders Program. So when I was a kid, I really struggled with change. I remember crying for days after my family moved houses when I was in middle school. My parents were confused. My brother and I had a bigger room, we got to pick the paint on the walls and the layout of the furniture. It was definitely an upgrade, but still I felt so overwhelmed by the change that I was in tears. All I wanted to do in that moment was to remember where I had come from, not create something new and unfamiliar. Fast forward to today, and I've learned that that little kid with a change problem is still inside of me somewhere. I often find myself feeling emotionally raw around major life beginnings or endings. I'm a very nostalgic person, and this is all feeling extra confusing right now as I find myself even feeling anxious about the reopening of life after the pandemic because it feels like uncharted waters both internally and socially. Why do I feel this way? Well, there may be a reason. One of my absolute favorite psychology tidbits is about a phenomenon called the end of history illusion. Basically, researchers asked one group of people to predict how much their values, personalities, and interests would change over the next 10 years. At the same time, they asked another group how much their values, personalities, and interests had actually changed over the previous 10 years. So in other words, they could compare the predictions of, say, 25-year-olds with the memories of 35-year-olds and make those comparisons throughout the lifespan. It turns out that at every age studied, even folks late in their lives, people vastly underestimated how much they would change over the coming 10 years. Change is a constant that we often don't fully recognize until after the fact. We are works in progress who mistakenly think we're finished. Psychologists hypothesize that we're so bad at predicting change in ourselves because our brains struggle to imagine something that hasn't happened yet, while we're pretty good at reflecting back on where we've come from. We tend to mistake the challenge of imagining a future change for the unlikelihood of the change actually happening. In a way, change really is about being suspended between the past and the future. And human brains are not naturally so great at that suspension, as it turns out. That's why, to be honest, I kind of have a beef with Isaiah 43:18-19, which says, "Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." Okay, I love the sentiment, but hello, my brain is literally wired to remember the former things and to struggle with perceiving new things. But here's the deal. The world needs me to get over this, needs us to exercise that muscle of future imagination, needs us to dream as boldly as Isaiah. Not only to survive life as an individual, but to keep bending that moral arc of the universe toward justice. The work of anti-racism and gender equity and environmental protection and queer liberation and economic justice demand that we imagine the world beyond the boundaries of oppression that hem in our histories. Being perpetually stuck in the way things have always been is not a good look in the context of the broken systems of the world. I wonder if there's some helpful mystery in that moment of suspension between past and future, in that knack for seeing where we've come from, that can provide the fuel to imagine a future that doesn't yet exist. Maybe that's why storytelling is so central to liberation work. Whether you come at storytelling through the lens of faith, spirituality, art, family, or another meaning-making system, that act of remembering is powerful. Remembering not only where we as individuals come from, but even more importantly, remembering the communities and forebears on whose shoulders we stand when we embark on social change. Whether we remember as a corrective to past injustices or as an amplifier of past joys, perhaps we can harness our natural propensity for remembering as inspiration and momentum to imagine a future as boldly as the prophet imagines rivers in the desert. The change that the world needs is going to require every source of inspiration we can find, and maybe our psychology gives us a hint about the power of remembering. So what if we abide in the in-between? Remember. Tell stories, feel, dream, change. we're not finished.